like to call to order the Lake Whatcom and Natural Resources Committee. I'm Pinky Vargas, the chair, and I'm joined with Roxanne Murphy and Terry Borneman. Today we're going to have a follow-up discussion about the waterfront habitat enhancements. Our council has provided direction to continue the discussion about waterfront habitat enhancements and connectivity studies. Previously, we had an adoption of the Waterfront District Master Plan and the interlocal agreement for facilities between the Port of Bellingham and the City of Bellingham in December 2013. Staff provided an update to Council on February 24th, 2014. The fiscal impact is a $50,000 for a habitat connectivity study. And we're going to have an information-only presentation by Ted Carlson today.
Yes, thank you very much. Ted Carlson, Public Works Department, alongside with Renee LaCroix, and she's our environmental manager that's going to act the presentation today. That's exactly right. This is a follow-up to previous discussions. We wanted to provide an update in where we're at on the waterfront habitat projects that are ongoing, and specifically the discussions that we had at the previous work session related to habitat connectivity throughout the waterfront shoreline. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Renee. She's going to give you a brief update, and then we can answer any questions that you may have.
Good afternoon, Renee LaCroix, Public Works. I wanted to update you on the RFQ that we put out for the Marine Nearshore Habitat Connectivity Study. That went out earlier this year, and we got 3 submittals from Confluence Environmental, ESA out of Seattle, I hope I named this correctly, Hammer, H-A-M-E-R. I'm not quite sure if I have the pronunciation right. But I reviewed the submittals this morning, and I was impressed with them. We have some really good choices. So we have an internal team that's reviewing those. We've also asked Stephenson from Resources to be on the review committee, and that committee will rank them. And we should have one selected by the end of next week, I'm hoping. So that'll keep us moving forward on the direction that Council gave us. I did want to take a step back and kind of talk about where we are. So the reason Council wanted us to do the habitat connectivity study was in regards to the waterfront sub-area adoption plan. And prior to that, staff, Natural Resources Group, had been working towards WIRA 1 Marine Nearshore Needs Assessment and Restoration Prioritization that was completed in 2013. And we've also been working towards a habitat restoration technical analysis. So we have these 2 plans that have already been moving forward, and the conversation with the waterfront came very connected to those things that we're doing. And so this map shows kind of what those 2 plans have told us so far in the direction that we're moving. So these dark green areas are forest habitat patches that are greater than 5 acres. And the shrub meadow areas are light green and also greater than 5 acres. So you can see where they are on the landscape. This is something that came out of our habitat restoration technical analysis, which is still in process and you'll be hearing more about, but this is preliminary results of where things are in the landscape. And then the pink areas show enhancement sites that are either completed or in process. And a lot of those light pink ones that are planned or in process are directly results from the WIRA 1 Marine Nearshore. So you can get a sense of what our urban landscape looks like, where the corridors either already exist or where we need to connect them. So it gives you a really good picture of what things look like now and where the holes are and where we need to do work, where the natural corridors have formed. And then you can see along the Marine Nearshore where these corridors where the corridors need to be. And so it'll provide us information into that conversation as we move forward. So that's all I had for you guys. Do you guys have any questions for me?
Yeah, one of the reasons why I was interested on the council in supporting this study is because there's been some uncertainty as to whether or not the various plans you've already referred to, the WIRA Nearshore Assessment and the Habitat Technical Study you're talking about, which will be part of a habitat restoration plan, where the cover areas, and in particular whether or not they cover the water and other shoreline areas. Will this fill in all the spaces, those studies, Okay. And so answer now, just from the camera's on you rather than a nod. And as a result of this, what kind of a prioritization for projects that we might then seek for will come out of it, or the next step and not directly the result of this work?
So the answer to your first question is yes. And both the first two studies that I talked about, the WIRA 1 Marine Nearshore and the Habitat Restoration Technical Assessment, they overlap right at the marine shoreline. And there isn't a specific geographic line that they follow, but if you look at what they both encompass, there's a lot of overlap there, especially around the pocket estuaries. So this is sort of a third layer on top of that same strip of land right on the near shore. So it's well covered. If anything, it's over covered. And then we will have a prioritized list at the end of this, so that will help us with grant funding applications.
Any questions? Anyone else? Anything else, Ted?
No, we plan on moving forward. We'll keep the council up to date as we move forward with the various studies, and come back at our quarterly updates when the time's appropriate under natural resources and provide you additional information to get it, but nothing other.
Ma'am?
I'm sure I saw this map before, but it's interesting to me where actually how this is. I can see connections, you know, where the purple goes into the green. So I think the connections, there are probably a lot more connections than we think there is where we can make them. And I never knew that before. Good job, Renee.
This looks great. Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
And that, we only had one item for committee, so that is the end of that committee. And I guess we're going to take a break till 1:35. Is that correct?